I asked him if they had any with tire tracks. They did not. We'll have to put those on by hand.
Boy, we sure had a lot of fun with that last year
boy, we did.
in the legislature. Lynette Peterson showed up at the caucuses, and she'd always let go with her duck call.
But anyways, back to SB2. I think you have your deliberative session because we also have SB2 Budget Committee. So Budget Committee is actually the most powerful entity in town because it hears both the municipal and the school budgets. And then it's the entity that proposes the budgets that go to the town people for discussion and voting upon. And you take a lot of that pile on. You take a lot of that this movement or that movement, the mobocracy out of the equation.
Keith Ammon, Thursday night, was talking about his hypothesis, and I think it's pretty sound, says that you're presented with two budgets. Mm-hmm. One of which is the default budget.
Mm-hmm. Which gets gamed.
He's done an analysis of the percentage difference between proposed budgets and default budgets across the state for, forget how many years he says he's done it, and he says it's less than 1/2 of 1%. So the illusion that you're voting for something is not correct. It is simply an illusion. And he would like to see legislation proposed that if you don't like this budget or the default budget, then you take it to town hall and you fight it out like you did in the old days, line by line. I like it.
Bring
Think about
cushions for your fanny.
Yeah.
But seriously, wouldn't you get more participation in town meeting if you thought you could effect some
You'd certainly
type-
get more left-wing
depends.
participation.
It depends. Really, it's not so
I'm
much.
not sure.
You know, it's not so much
The
left.
lefties like it this way.
No, I know they do, but I'm just saying
I
they're
think-
always the ones that show up.
No, I think in a
En
lot of
masse.
cases it's the town employees against everybody else.
Well, certainly there's that, and there's certainly that in my town, because the town administrator has, well, I'm not even going to go there. But
Well, I got ousted as the vice chair of our budget committee because I refused to go along with the shiny new fire engine that the fire chief wanted and the pseudo union that
Sure.
the fire folks wanted as well. And
Oh, boy.
I got dumped. And I haven't been able to get back in yet.
The townies and the school board people and everybody else got together and they kicked you out.
They did.
Kicked you off the island.
They did.
yeah, but if the fix is in, and if people who live their lives and go to work every day and take their kids to hockey and teach Sunday school on Wednesday nights and do all of these things have to choose
Sunday school on Wednesday nights?
Bible study.
Bible study.
Oh, okay.
Sorry,
I was thinking
we
cat-
we come from a different part of the world.
Well, no, I get that part.
See, that's Prince Pasta night in New England, so you really you could
well,
have
there you go.
spaghetti supper at church on Wednesday. That would make more sense
Okay,
in
well,
New
we could
England.
do that. We could
Well,
do
see, that's a Bible study. That's not Sunday school.
that. Well,
'Cause I used to teach both.
Well, again,
Somebody's happy.
Thank you.
we're
Thank
here
you.
all week.
Yes. We're here for at least another hour. So
Clapping
But-
in the other room.
We come back to this fundamental issue of you elect people and expect that they're going to do what, number one, they say they're going to do, but secondly, that they're going to represent your interests. And they do neither.
Yeah.
And they'll say anything to get elected. And once they're elected, then they dodge every piece of roll call accountability that they can, so you can't hold them accountable. Or they hide behind a split vote. Or they figure out in advance, okay, we know the vote's going to go this way, so I can vote this way, and I can still look like a hero.
Oh, we see that happen in
We are-
Manchester all the time.
We
And
are-
Gatsis is famous for it.
And we let them get away with it because we think they have the appearance of doing what they say they're going to do. So the fault is ours, but you have to make decisions on what is most important in your life, your family, your job, your church, or kicking politicians' asses up and down Main Street every opportunity that you can.
Yeah.
I think the latter is a lot more fun.
Well, certainly it is now,
Well,
but for
for a lot of us, It is now. I did not do politics until I became an empty nester. Until my 2 kids left, graduated from high school.
Sure.
I
And
really,
that's the point.
and that is the point. But at the same time, there is a part of me that says a lot of this nonsense would go away if it was more personal to a lot more people. But they are so busy. Government is down at that 4th or 5th level of consciousness, where it really should be. It should be doing only what it's supposed to do and no more. No less,
Absolutely.
but no more. And a lot of people think that that's what's going on until, like us, we start bringing out the big flashlights and we see how the sausage is being ground down. And we go, no, that does not match most people's reality. But they don't know it, and they don't want to be bothered by it because you're right. They're doing other stuff. They're living life versus us who just kind of...
Well, there's also that those people who have begun to sense that something is terribly wrong,
Thank God.
but they are
Thank God.
afraid of the intimidation. They don't want people calling them racists or sexists or misogynists or having to deal with the white
Homophobes.
privilege or a homophobe.
Xenophobes.
They
Or Free Stater.
or free stater, yeah, in New Hampshire, for example.
I had
and
somebody
they're
show up at
very-
the polls to hold a great big sign that says, "Warning: Emily Sandblade is a Free Stater." Right at the polls.
Sure.
But
Yeah.
that's, I mean, they don't want to get engaged because they don't want to have to deal with those screaming lunatic liberals who have no defense for their argument but just call you names. They don't want to go there.
Well, they're also,
yeah.
almost every one of them is this far from violence.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, we know that. We have it on tape.
You watch them. No, you watch the body language arguing with a liberal or a progressive, and they can't help themselves. I've never had a rational argument with someone who is truly ideologically opposed to me. It has always been, you can see them start to shake. They start going from foot to foot. Their hands are grasping like this. They're this close. And if one were so inclined,
Here it comes.
You could get them to take a swing at you.
I didn't have to work that hard, and I've had a couple push me around physically.
Sure.
And I'm only for the people who can't imagine me in their mind's eye. I'm 5 foot tall.
Are you that tall? Or is that his? Emily and I were separated
I
at birth.
like to insist that I'm a full 5 feet tall and 120 pounds, and I look like a granny. And I'm not a person who really can deal with somebody who's 180 pounds and 6 inches taller or 8 inches taller very well, or 10 inches or 12 inches.
Sure.
And which these particular gentlemen were. They were both male, and they were both liberal Democrats.
Sure.
And it has been kind of unpleasant to deal with.
Yeah.
And then in the legislature, they say that the Free Staters and the Tea Partiers and the conservatives all discriminate and harass women. And the funny thing is the only harassment I've ever dealt with was in the legislature was from a fellow legislator who kept propositioning me at every single opportunity he could for months. And I told him I wasn't interested, and he kept doing it, and he was pushy and nasty, and his language was much less than polite. And if we want to talk about who discriminates against women, who's on the edge of violence against women or even against other people,
Sure.
we need to be talking about the far left.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
They are borderline violent. They're aggressive in an ugly sense. And I'm just hoping they mistake me for some little old helpless lady.
Just make sure we have the cameras on you at the time.
Yeah, well, when
we could turn that into pay-per-view.
that's a lesson that's only going to be learned once.
Well, you know what I keep saying about you, right? How I talk about you? This nice old Texan belle, smooth as silk, walking up to you smiling, walks away from you, and you look down, and your blood is in your shoes. And she's just smiling, wiping off that little blade that she has just removed from between your ribs.
Perhaps in the interest of full disclosure,
Indeed.
I should also reveal that I, too, am from Texas.
Yes, we.
Now, you don't have that Texas accent.
I can give it to you.
Honey,
Sure.
all it takes is half a bottle of tequila. No, one glass of red wine. And
White chicken chili?
We could. Oh, I was talking to Greg about.
As long as it doesn't have beans.
We could become utterly incoherent, unintelligible, perhaps.
Well, Miss Susan, I totally agree
Honey,
with
yeah,
you.
yeah, we could do that. And once and it's so wonderful to be around Emily because I can drop back into that cadence, and she understands fixin' to. Okay, not everybody does. She gets fixin' to, and so we are more similar than we are dissimilar to people's great chagrin, I think, sometimes.
Yeah, but that's because we were separated at birth.
Yes, we were. Yes, we were.
Yeah.
He's not even going to touch it.
Nope.
Not even going to touch it.
Nope.
I think we've intimidated him.
Oh, I'm
Oh, no, that doesn't have.
Oh, look who's here.
Well,
Nearest
Mike,
I've
Mike.
seen to an actual field setup in years.
Mike.
I think we're going to pass the headphones on.
all righty.
Well,
have a seat
Thank you
there,
so
ma'am.
much for coming in.
Yeah, thank you, Emily, and thank you, Susan, for coming on back. You enjoy the rest of the Liberty Forum. And we're about to be joined by Mike and Marmar.
Or at least Mike.
Mike, well, we're going to see if we can get Marmar to sit in this chair, too. Come on, Marmar.
I found you on LinkedIn recently, I believe.
Come on, Marmar.
Will you excuse me for a moment?
Well, certainly.
Well, good grief, guys. Hasn't it been fun?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there's been a steady stream of people going back and forth.
Excellent.
Okay.
Well, we certainly seem to have a problem in D.C. at the moment with an orange boner that's lasted way too many years.
Okay, well, you carry on the conversation, Mr.
More than
Steve.
4
I gotta
hours.
go. I gotta get something from Mr. Mike here.
Okay. Oh, I do have. Did you? Where is that? I brought you something from CPAC, and I didn't bring it because I wasn't sure if you were going to be here. I think it's in my car.
Oh, okay. Well,
It's
that's
it's a
not
travel mug, townhall.com travel mug.
Oh, wonderful. Yeah,
So,
I'll take that. You mean you got fed up with me bringing a tin Timmy to the...
Oh no, not at all, not at all. I just they had trillions of them left over as it was getting near the end, and I just grabbed a couple extras because I thought, I got to bring you guys
Why
something
not?
from
Yeah,
CPAC, and I couldn't bring you,
Rand Paul.
Ambassador Bolton or Rand Paul. Here.
Yeah.
Hey, that's what it looks like.
Excellent.
So,
Nice.
townhall.com. I have one exactly like it from my dentist, except it has their logo on it.
Well,
So
I think I won't use it immediately. It looks like it needs to
it
be.
probably needs to be cleaned because it's been in the box, in the bus,
travel-
in my car, in my bag.
Traveling with your stuff.
It's been traveling with something in it, so
Yeah.
I would.
So
watch it
you
first.
guys probably already covered the WTF for the week, which is the nation getting jaspered.
Yeah, well, we did kind of touch on a few possibilities. We had some congressmen who think the Constitution's a joke. We had, of course, Hillary Clinton and her little email scandal.
Well, actually,
we had the Boehner thing.
There's, thank you. There's more to that. Reunited. My implant, yeah. My implant, folks. Where are they? Yes. Okay. Yeah, there's more to all of those things than meets the eye up front. So, and if you've covered all this, sort of stop me. But the nation got jaspered. Well, how is that? Because Boehner, pushed by the Conservatives, put through a bill to fund Department of Homeland Security minus the money that would have continued to implement Obama's executive amnesty. And notice I say continue to implement because the word we have is more than 7 million work permits may have already been issued, possibly with the help hired of formerly illegal aliens to speak the lingo. So that's not good to start with. So they put forward this bill, and the Senate refuses and refuses and refuses to pass it. And McConnell, of course, won't repay the favor to Harry Reid of going nuclear, not even nuclear, to solve the problem. So that doesn't happen. And finally, the money runs out, and they're going to do a 1-week extension. But no, they were still going to get the blame if they did a 1-week extension. So they put forward a bill that was clean funding all the way through to September, which basically meant that DHS is funded for the entire fiscal year, exactly what Obama wanted in the first place. And then you get to the ugly bit, and it turns out that this bill, which obviously Boehner had a hand in writing, was voted for by all of the Democrats and about a third of the Republicans. And if that doesn't sound like Medicaid expansion in the New Hampshire Senate, it's awfully close. And then you hear that if Boehner should happen to face a leadership challenge, such as the Yoho Heave-Ho that we mentioned a few months ago, that's Ted Yoho from Florida, who challenged him in the initial speaker election, that the Democrats would unite behind him. So you would get a speaker that was effectively owned and operated by the Democrat Party, as if you can't tell that he's owned and operated by Pelosi already.
Yeah, we did briefly talk about that, and it just seems so often we see what happens in D.C. migrates back here to Concord and back and forth. And, I think a lot of Republicans ought to be asking themselves, why are we voting for the Republican Party? I think we may be seeing the Republican Party becoming the Whig Party and a new party rising.
It's on its way out.
If they continue to act this way, again, it isn't just that we want somebody to vote against. We do.
If you do any writing, by the way, they'll send you one of these.
Oh, I do need to.
Yeah. So
We need to be able to vote for something, and if you're going to say you're for something, then by golly, be for that thing instead of cowering in political fear, because they're all scared that people won't vote for them for what they've just done. Mike, they're going to vote against them for what they didn't do.
Just like, and I met at a Tea Party meeting this morning, a guy wearing very proudly a Dave Bratt sticker, because he had worked in Virginia for a while on the Dave Bratt campaign.
Yep.
You remember
Oh, dear.
the upstart Bratt who took out the obnoxious Eric Cantor by running an actual good conservative campaign and took out the prior whip of the House. And he's an economics professor, of all things. How the heck do you expect an economics professor to win an election? Well, unless it was Krugman in Bluest, New York, you don't. But this guy won it handily, hands down, in fact, because his message was first class.
Yep.
And he looks like the kind of guy who's going to stand on principle. And we need to elect enough of those guys that Boehner is more afraid of his conservative caucus than he is of the Democrats and the media.
Yeah, and it is hard to do that here in New Hampshire because it's such a small state. There's so little money to be able to run against some of these folks. We brought up the example earlier of Jane Cormier, outspent 10 to 1, $140,000 in the primary against 16. And you go, message is good. A great message is really, really good, but you can be outspent.
Yeah, well, Dave Booton isn't worth $140,000 unless we're talking about taking out a contract on him.
No, Mike, be nice now. Be nice.
He's worth $140,000 to the unions.
He is, and they just got paid in full with his right to vote, right to work vote.
Oh yeah,
And in addition to the 140 in the primary, he spent another 60 thereabouts, altogether in the general.
and there was no challenge.
In other words, it cost
He didn't
him,
need to spend a dime.
No.
Yeah.
In other words, it cost him less to keep the Democrats out than it did to keep another Republican out.
That's right.
Which tells you who he's really owned and operated by. Again.
Yep.
Aha.
Yep. So, it just is what it is, and it's just it gets to be a little wearing.
Yeah,
over time.
Angelo Codevilla's ruling class is alive and well, and it's living in D.C. with branch offices in places like Concord.
Yeah, it is, and we do deserve the government we get, unfortunately.
Yes, we do, because we vote for these, or at the more fundamental level, we allow the teachers, or should I say the indoctrination apparatchiks, to bring up our kids in such a state of mind, skulls full of mush, that they will vote for these people, that they will actually vote for Obama twice before they realize that maybe it was a bad idea when they start seeing the Obamacare fines and deductibles and all the other things.
Yeah. Well, I've certainly been putting up the Common Core things as I come across them, and as I remember, I got a gazillion book tabs almost all the time, and it's a case of, do I remember what I bookmarked? So come nighttime when it's time to blog, do I remember I had that? But one of the examples that came up last week was this example from a book that somebody took a snapshot of. What was their explanation of the Second Amendment? Oh, it allows people to buy certain kinds of guns. And that's what they're teaching to our kids. And my famous example was when Greg Kucinich 3-4 cycles ago now was running for the state senate. He was standing outside our high school holding his signs, standing next to a Jeb Bradley sign. And we can have certainly conversations about why Jeb Bradley is not the greatest politician from a liberty and freedom standpoint. But one of the teachers were bringing the kids out, and I thought this was great. Teachers bring their kids out to see people, holding signs, the democratic process, yada yada. One fourth grader pointed to the sign that had Jeb Bradley on it. Who's that person? And the teacher said, a bad man.
Now,
Yeah.
we can say he's a bad man over Senate and Medicaid expansion, but they were just saying he's a bad man because he supports Second Amendment rights. Correct?
No, he was a bad man because he was a Republican.
Right, and that, of course.
Yeah, and that's the kind of thing you look at and you go, what else is being taught that we don't know? Well, we certainly see that thing, with Guilford, with the Jodi Picoult book that was given out to freshmen, very sexually explicit type book. There's another one that I've got bookmarked about parents all in an outrage because a very explicit gay poem was read to the class by the teacher. It's like, who the heck are these teachers to say, my brand of morality is now going to be my children's? And that's really what they think. The teachers believe the children belong to them and not to the parents, and that's a problem.
Actually, the children belong to the government and not to the parents.
Well, you do see a number
The
of...
teachers are just agents of the government.
Yeah, who was that MSNBC person that I quoted? She said basically we don't talk enough about the children belong to society and not to their parents, something like that. But Hillary Clinton has said the same thing. A number of progressives have said that. And it's a case of, you listen to these people and you go, where the heck is our sense of a traditional society going?
Right. If you... Yeah,
Oh, so
sorry.
you're done eating.
Yeah.
Okay.
Melissa Harris Perry.
Thank you.
If you subscribe to the viewpoint that this Constitution, this republic is suitable for a good and moral people and wholly unsuitable for any other, then you can infer from that then it is the parents' duty as good and moral citizens and engaged in their republic to bring up their children to be good and moral citizens. And there's no way that society can be the surrogate to do that.
Yeah, well, the problem oftentimes comes up.
We're here to crash the party.
All right. Well,
The gunners are here in force.
yay. Hi, Mr. Rick.
Hey, Rick, how you doing?
Well, one of the things that's never brought up in all of this,
Excuse me.
society should be educating, society should be bringing up your children, is the idea that society doesn't benefit and the culture doesn't benefit from having a monoculture. And the monoculture is we raise all the kids the same, we treat them all the same, they all evolve to have the same taste, the same intelligence or lack thereof, the same ideas, and that's actually extremely deadly for an evolving culture. And cultures can't be static. They have to be evolving and making everybody the same and treating them the same and treating them like society's supposed to raise them all the same is one of the deadliest things that we can do for our future.
I think
You're onto something there, because in plant breeding and, dare I say, genetically modified organisms, but farmers have been doing that for thousands of years. If you refine a strain of a plant or an animal too far, it's a monoculture and it's susceptible to any kind of deadly disease. And I would say that we've created a monoculture at this point that is extremely susceptible to the deadly disease of populist communism.
Okay. I think at this point, it's time for a break so we can hold on. We're going to cycle the chairs around a little bit because I want to take a break and take the camera out and do some interviews. So, Mike,
If you want to just have them.
Mike, I was going to say, why don't you come over here? We've got Amanda on deck circle. We've got Mr. Rick.
We can get
on the
Amanda and Rick
deck.
on here, and we can talk to
I'm
them.
going to need a glass of water before I can do anything.
All righty. Well, you do that, and Steve.
You want me to play some music?
Let's play some music for just a little
Okay,
bit.
hold on a second.
And we're going to
Let
take
me
a little bit of break,
find
folks. We're still broadcasting
some
from
music.
Liberty Farm in Manchester, New Hampshire.
All right, you got your finger on that volume
I
control?
got my finger on the volume
Okay,
control.
turn it up.
All right.
Okay. All right, we'll be right back. All right, we're going to turn up some microphones.
GrokTV.